everyone, welcome back to Kevin Reviews. I just recently saw the Nobody, and yes, this is a double feature with Atomic Blonde thrown in the mix. I will get to the Atomic Blonde at another time, but this is Nobody is directed by, and I have to look because IIya Naishuller. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'm going to be butchering the names here. Written by Derek Kolstad. It stars Bob Odenkirk, Aleksey Serebryakov. I apologize for uh, mispronouncing. Connie Nielsen, Christopher Lloyd, and Michael Ironside. This was released in 2021 while the pandemic was still going for a time. Um, During the pandemic, I didn't really see a lot of anything new. Maybe a couple movies, but I was, I think most or some of us just kind of wanted to be wanted to watch stuff that was more our comfort than anything new, and that was the case for me. Um, so I didn't see a ton of new things during the pandemic years. So this is kind of a way to catch up, I guess, a little bit on the early 2020s. Um, so I remember seeing the trailer and remember thinking it looks good, but it's like kind of your same same action packed uh, film with like John Wick, Taken or something like that. So I don't know. I wasn't quite sure. It didn't quite interest me initially, especially during those years. And like I said, I was more interested in what was familiar and what brought me more comfort than anything new that would bring me to the table. So I that's why I didn't watch it. So now with Nobody 2 coming out this week, and I did just watch this a couple days before its release, or I just figured I'd watch this and see how the next one does, and that's what I'm doing here. So my review. So we have Bob Odenkirk as Manson. No, I'm sorry, Hutch Mansell. Um, I had to look that up again. I'm sorry, um, but uh, but in any case, his story involves is he's basically this nobody, who this father who has a wife and kids, though he and his wife have some kind of estranged relationship. They're still together, but you know they don't exactly see have like have time for each other anymore. It's just kind of going by this routine day to day, and that's what we see is like his routine from day to day, which is get up, eat, say hi to the family, um, go to work, come back, and that's pretty much it. Have dinner, go to bed. That's been his routine. And then one day, an incident happens involving a robbery, and something in Hutch wakes back up in his side. And while that's not as and while we do later see how later that the robbery is not the most important thing, it's what wakes him up. His other half. This they like to use, and that's as far as I go. But they do face off. He does face off against a mob boss played by um, Aleksey Serebryakov. I'm butchering the name again. Who plays Julian? Who decides to go after him, and as far as I will go in regards to the story. Um, my expectations are pretty on the nose. It does feel like another action film, um, overall, similar to what I mentioned, John Wick, Taken. Excuse me, and it's. I think this is a fun movie. It's not quite like elevates it to those other films levels, personally, but But then again, I saw it on DVD by myself. It probably would have been much more impactful if I saw it in theaters. I'm not sure. It does have some unique things about, like, you know, his history. We don't know a ton about his history as this, because it seems like there's nothing going on for him, just a guy who gets into trouble and starts trying to become something he's not. But we get hints of it later on that he was more than just a nobody, but he is still a nobody. It's like a code name in a way. And that's what's and it was interesting. We try to figure out the mystery, but of course they don't really quite give a ton about the story, his story or his backstory, or what he works for or whatever. It does play around with that. It does have this kind of tongue in cheek humor that's pretty appealing to see. The We got, you know Christopher Lloyd's in this, while he's not, from Back to the Future, well-known projects, but he's not in the film that long, but he does have some great moments, especially near the end of the film. Um, and um, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm still trying to collect because I just recently saw this. The action's fun. It is directed well. It's shot well. It's not like in your face, always cutting to with the action to make it, hard to see what's going on. It doesn't do that. Um, it has some very creative ways, but which is later in the is in the movies, but it's later in the end, and it's a lot of fun to see how that all that went down goes down. Um, yeah, I'm sorry I'm not revealing too much. I'm trying to keep it relatively sort of spoiler free. Um, but yeah, I think it's a lot of fun. I think it is a lot of fun. I probably would have given it, um, you know, well, not given it, but let's see. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that's in this that I could comment. Um, I will say, if I have anything to complain about, I guess, is maybe the villain. Not to say he's bad, like, at all, but I don't know. I mean, I guess when we start knowing more and more about Odenkirk's character, Hutch. He does kind of the villain does be kind of um, become this, pretty generic. Not, I mean, he does have his moments, which is kind of, fun, but otherwise, I don't know. I wish they kind of pushed it a little bit further, or showed even more dangerous how dangerous his character is, because they build him up to be this kind of dangerous character. Um, but I don't know. I don't know. It's like they start building it up, and then once Bob, Hutch, we know a bit more Hutch, that he's even scarier than Yuli, and that kind of falls by the wayside. Um, as a villain. I think the film could have, done a little bit more with his character, make him more of a threat or whatever. Otherwise, I just thought he was okay. Not bad, just okay. Um, but yeah, there's not a ton I can say. I think as of now, before, I will say this: for majority of the film, it felt like I was going to give it 3.5. The ending does excel it. Um, the climax of the film does really sell it more, and made him a lot more entertaining, that I could bump it up one more star. Um, it does drag a little bit on, maybe later in the film, but otherwise it's still a fun movie. I think if I'm trying to debate, I think I will give this maybe 3.5, maybe 4 stars. I'm still kind of divided, because I think it's still a fun movie that you should check out overall. Granted, if I had not seen John Wick, or like Taken, or any other action films, this probably would have been a great film, even better. And it does play with like the ideas about they mentioned several times about wolf in sheep's clothing and stuff like that. You know, um, about wanting a life, but it's sort of been done before, if though not addressed. Um, but I hope I'm making sense here. I really do, because I don't know. But yeah, I think I'm gonna give this 3.5. I still think it's a fun movie. Um, I would see it again. Maybe I'll like it more, probably more. Maybe I'll like the Nobody 2 a little more. Or maybe I'll get the idea why the Nobody film was really good at the time. But otherwise, yeah, 3.5 stars, maybe 4. So just keep in my mind. So it's kind of a top. I could either go 3.5 or 4 stars for either. So, but yeah, I had a fun time with the film overall. So yeah, what do you think? What are your thoughts on the film? Leave it down in the comments below. Give a like or dislike if the review, didn't meet, if it did or did not meet your expectations. Um, and feel free to subscribe if you like what you see. And I'll see you in the next review. Bye.